He survived 3 combat tours, saved 12 lives and returned home a hero, only to be shot in broad daylight by a cop who never even looked at his ID. As the world watched in horror, the Pentagon stepped in, and a quiet soldier's story became a national reckoning no one could ignore. Eli Turner had driven this road 100 times, past the weathered billboards, cracked sidewalks, and the old oak leaning over Route 67 like a silent witness. His thoughts were on the weekend ahead, helping his mother patch the roof, maybe grilling in the backyard, anything to remind him he was finally home. After 3 tours overseas, home was supposed to be safe. The cruiser appeared in his rearview mirror, red and blue lights flaring against the dusk. Eli blinked, signaled, and eased onto the shoulder. He shifted the SUV into park, took a deep breath, and rolled down his window. His military ID was clipped to the visor, the same place he'd kept it since leaving base. Bootsteps approached, fast, too fast. Eli's pulse quickened, but training kept him steady. He didn't move. The officer appeared, face flushed, jaw tight. "Out now!" the cop barked. Eli kept his tone calm and respectful. "Yes, sir." He opened the door and stepped out slowly, both hands raised high. A gust of wind lifted the corner of his hoodie, revealing the edge of the bronze star tattooed across his ribs. His wallet and ID slipped from his hand, landing near the officer's boot. The cop didn't glance down. "You one of those street boys?" the officer spat, his voice dripping with contempt. "You think you're special?" "I'm Staff Sergeant Eli Turner," Eli replied evenly. "United States Army." The officer smirked, cold as the steel in his hand. His finger tightened on the trigger. "Then you should be used to this." Eli never saw the flash. The impact stole his breath as pain tore across his chest. The ground rose up to meet him, branches overhead blurring through his vision. Screams erupted, phones shot upward, voices cracking with panic. "Call an ambulance!" The officer stood over him, gun still raised. "Stay down!" Blood pooled beneath Eli's shoulders. His heartbeat thundered in his ears, but he forced himself to stay awake. He had survived worse firefights. He wasn't going to die on the side of an American road. Sirens wailed in the distance. A woman's voice, shaking but resolute, spoke into her phone. He didn't resist. He was calm. He said he was Army. The cop shot him anyway. The video went live within minutes. By the time Eli was stabilized in the trauma ward, 20 million people had seen it. Headlines blared. "Decorated black soldier shot by police during traffic stop. Pentagon demands answers." Veterans flooded the hospital lobby, uniforms pressed, medals gleaming under harsh fluorescent lights. News anchors replayed Eli's combat footage, the day he carried 2 wounded teammates out of a burning convoy. The ceremony where he received his Bronze Star replayed across the news. And now this. At the precinct, the officer who pulled the trigger sat behind a metal desk, his face drained of color. An internal affairs agent read his rights in a flat monotone. "You are hereby relieved of duty pending criminal charges." He didn't protest. He had no words. 3 days later, Eli returned, this time in full dress uniform, the Bronze Star pinned to his chest. The courtroom rose as he entered, some out of guilt, others out of respect. Even the judge's voice wavered. "Staff Sergeant Turner, thank you for your service." Across the aisle, the former officer kept his eyes fixed on the floor. Testimonies began. Generals who had commanded Eli described his courage under fire. Combat medics detailed the lives he had saved. A psychologist explained the invisible scars Eli still carried. The jury deliberated less than 2 hours. Verdict: guilty. Abuse of power. Intent to harm. When the sentence was read, Eli didn't celebrate. He simply closed his eyes, knowing this victory wasn't his alone. It was for every veteran who came home expecting peace but found fear instead. And for every Black American who still wonders if compliance will ever be enough. What would you do if this were your reality? Drop a comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because silence protects injustice and your voice matters.